About as good of a start to a morning as you could ask for. So I get a pretty decent day on tap today. 4 hours with 2 by 75 minutes tempo. So we're gonna cover some ground. That also means I need to think about my fueling needs. Luckily, my wife Emily is a registered dietitian nutritionist, so I don't have to rely on past experiences to kind of figure out what I should eat and when. She's able to provide me with some factual knowledge about energy requirements, so I figured I'd share them with you guys. And yes, waffles are dietitianist approved. Sorry man, you already had breakfast. Like I said, I've got a 4-hour ride with 2 75-minute blocks of tempo. That means for 2.5 hours of my 4-hour ride, I'm gonna be going pretty hard. Hard enough that if I don't eat during those intervals, I'm probably gonna end up in Bonkville. Not to mention deplete my muscle glycogen stores, which wouldn't be ideal for the upcoming days of training. So, what should I do, Em?
Well, the maximum carb absorption rate is 90 grams per hour. However, that amount of carbs per hour is a bit too much for most people to tolerate. So I typically recommend that people aim for 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates per hour. This is much more manageable and easier on your GI system. Should we look at some examples?
Sure.
The cool thing about Cliff Bar products is they all come in multiples of about 5, so it's really easy to do the math and add up how many grams of carbs per hour you're consuming. For example, half a pack of Cliff Blocks contains 24, so basically 25 grams of carbs. So if you ate the whole pack, how many grams is that?
25 and 25 makes 50.
Yes. Also, the gels are 25 grams of carbs as well. So a pack of blocks and a gel is 75 grams of carbohydrate. This bar is 28 grams, so we can round that down to 25 grams. Now we have 100 grams of carbs. Don't forget your drink mix counts too. One serving of the Cliff Mix has 15 grams of carbs. So that math is a little different, but it's still really easy to add.
So basically, since over half of my 4.5 hour ride is going to be pretty hard, I should aim for the higher side of the 30 to 60 gram range. So for me, I like blocks and I like gels. This is 75 grams, so I should aim to eat this every hour.
Pretty much.
If I felt like eating bars, I could eat this and half a pack of blocks, right?
Yep.
Or if I wanted to eat some cubes, I could eat this and this.
Yep.
The possibilities are endless.
I'm sure some of you have noticed it's getting a lot hotter outside, and summer is here in full force, so I think we should talk a little bit about hydration as well.
Absolutely.
It's not as big of a deal for shorter rides, but for longer rides, especially if it's hot out, you can weigh in before and after to see how much fluid you lose. That way you can see if you overhydrate, underhydrate, or hydrated properly.
Luckily for me, we live in the South, and there's a plethora of churches on most bike rides I go on, so I'm never more than about 30 minutes from a hose spigot. Regardless, I never leave the house without 2 full bottles and a platypus. That gives me 2 to 3 hours of ride time before I need to stop to refill my bottles. First thing I did when I got back was weighed myself, and I only lost about 2 pounds, so we'll call that a kilogram.
So for every kilogram you lose in body weight, that equals about a liter of water. However, when you're replacing that amount, for every liter lost, you want to drink about 1.25 to 1.5 liters just to account for losses in urine and other body functions. Kerry lost a liter of fluid, so he did a pretty good job hydrating. He was maybe just a smidge underhydrated. If you weigh yourself after your workout and you had about a kilogram loss in fluids, or half a pound, you did a good job hydrating. If you weigh more afterwards, then you overhydrated, and that's not necessarily a good thing. To rehydrate, you need to consume 1.25 to 1.5 liters of fluids to replace your loss. Actually, it's important to consider this. It's important to replace that fluid loss with not only plain water. You want to have glucose and electrolytes as well to help retain the fluid. For example, you could have more Cliff drink mix after. If you want to have just plain water, that's fine, but you want to make sure to have it with your food. And then don't be afraid to add extra salt to your food. Now, it's recovery time. Woo! It's recommended that you have 0.2 to 0.3 grams of protein per kilogram body weight. So how much do you weigh?
Do I have to say?
Yeah, come on.
About 73 kilograms.
So you would need about 18 to 22 grams of protein after your workout.
So all I need is protein?
No, carbs are equally, if not more important than the protein. A lot of people put a bigger emphasis on protein after a workout, but they forget about carbs. While muscle protein synthesis is increased for 24 hours after exercise, the window to take in carbs is shorter. It's ideal to consume carbohydrates within 30 to 60 minutes post-exercise because the blood flow to your muscles is increased, so they're more likely to take up glucose, and your muscles are more sensitive to the action of insulin, which enhances the effects of glycogen synthase.
Right. Which is, for our viewers.
It's an enzyme that converts glucose to glycogen.
Now you know. So does that mean it's important to pack a recovery drink or snack for every ride?
So I would recommend packing one after long rides, hard workouts, not so much easy rides or just like 2-hour endurance rides. For those ones, your next meal or snack will be sufficient.
One of my go-to recovery snacks is the Cliff Builder Bar. Is this a good choice?
One thing you want to remember when making your post-ride recovery snack is you want to have between a 3-to-1 and a 4-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein. Like we calculated earlier, Kerry needs about 20 grams of protein post-workout. Then we multiply that by 3 and we multiply 20 by 4, so he needs 20 grams of protein and 60 to 80 grams of carbs post-workout. As we could see, this bar had 20 grams of protein, but it only has 30 grams of carbs. He could just eat a banana with this, which has about 30 grams of carbs, so that would be 60 grams total, and this bar and a banana would be an excellent recovery snack choice.
Good to know. So does it matter if you don't use a sports nutrition company's bars? Can you just eat regular food?
Yes, whole real foods are a great choice also. Just keep in mind the amount of protein and carbs they contain. If you can't get a recovery drink or bar and prefer real food, here are some good examples. A slice of bread, a Baby Bell cheese, a 1/4 cup of almonds, a cup of carrots, and 2 tablespoons hummus has 15 grams of protein and 45 grams carbs. A banana, a tablespoon honey, 2 tablespoons peanut butter, and a 1/2 cup cottage cheese is 17 grams of protein and 56 grams of carbs. 2/3 cup Greek yogurt, a 1/4 cup granola, and a cup blueberries has 18 grams of protein and 55 grams of carbs.
Okay, so I got my recovery dialed and my hydration dialed, but I burned like 4,000 calories today. So does that mean I get to just eat whatever I want?
No, you don't want to just replace that calorie deficit with donuts, dessert, chocolate. You want to replace it with good nutritious foods to help reduce inflammation and help with the recovery process. Also, if you rode long or did a hard workout that day or have multiple hard training days in a row, it may be beneficial to have a high protein snack before bed.
Are you advising me to eat dessert?
Some research shows that if you have a higher protein snack before bed, it helps you get through the night without depleting your glycogen stores and entering a fasting state.
So what you're saying is I can have dessert tonight.
Well, you definitely could have a healthier dessert option with a higher protein content. For example, one of my favorite dessert recipes to make,
and mine too,
is a sweet potato chocolate pudding. It has very little added sugar, just a little bit of maple syrup. It has healthy fats in the form of any nut butter of choice. And then I like to add protein powder to increase the protein content as well. We'll put the link to the recipe in the notes below. But seriously, if you would like to work on your nutrition to improve your performance and your overall health, my email will be in the video description below.
Also, follow her on Instagram. She does some pretty interesting weekly nutrition tips. Thanks for watching. Please comment with any questions or concerns, and I'll have Emily answer those for you guys. In the meantime, I'm gonna go eat dessert.